If I told you to go write a song where the chords are in minor and the melody in major, I'd set you up for failure. But in this video, I'll show you a great example when this actually works. This is the minor-major clash in Xanadu by Rush. Welcome to episode 25 of Johan Explains, the show where I talk about iconic parts of classic progressive rock. Hi, I'm Johan Explains, and I've done Rush before on the channel, and it generated quite some interest, so here is another classic one for you, Xanadu by Rush. Now this track contains a lot of iconic parts, some really loud and bombastic, and there is a wonderful atmospheric soundscape in the beginning. And there are odd time signatures, predominantly 7/8, and interesting themes. And there's just a lot of stuff going on in this track. But the one part that I return to is where there is a clash between minor and major. Is a beautiful and interesting part that has captured many fans and many musicians. In fact, I've heard lots of musicians play this part, and many of them get it a bit wrong. And that's not so strange when you consider how odd this part is put together. The melody has two parts, where the first part is major and the second minor. This is on top of a chord pattern that switches between major and minor. And this shouldn't really work, but it does. So let's listen to my short playthrough and we can talk about it after that. So that's that, and now you know what part I'm talking about. It's a really beautiful and interesting little part. So let's take a look at what's going on here graphically. So I'm going to use this red little dot as a pointer. So we have the melody here and the chords here. And we have the bars, bar 1, bar 2, bar 3, and so forth. And we can see that we have 4 bars, the melody playing D major, everything is in D, followed by 4 bars of D minor. And the chords we have mostly minor and a little bit of major in the end. And this calls for some interesting clashes where things happen and things shouldn't really work, but they work anyway. This is really interesting to me. So the thing is, this is not the entire truth. Let's go deeper. Now we have some blue dots appearing here, and so forth. And the blue dots, they indicate that what I call is implied minor. That is, this bar and this bar is definitely minor. And this bar, you can think of it as major or minor because it doesn't really tell. The notes here are in both the major and the minor scale, like the 5th and the 2nd and so forth. So we can't really tell if it's minor or major, but it's implied minor to me because these two heavy guys and signals that this is a minor chord progression. So we interpret this as minor. At least I do that. Tell me what you think. So now we can see where the so-called problem areas are, if there are any. I guess you can spot them. And let me show you what I think. Here we have the most interesting notes and the most interesting clashes and dissonances, because this is definitely major, and this is definitely minor and minor. And if you slow this down, and I'm going to do that for you later on, you can hear, and I'm going to show you exactly where those dissonances and clashes are, and they sound really interesting. But let's play this through, and this little dot is going to dance with the music, and you can follow along and see if you can spot those interesting clashes and dissonances here. So let's focus in on those interesting notes here. I'm going to show you with my keyboard here. First of all, we have the guitar pattern, which is, of course, only like that. I'm not going to play those because they say nothing about major or minor. It's just a fifth and the root. So I'm going to play the melody and the bass notes that guitar plays, and let's focus in on that red area and what the dissonances and the clashes here. So we have that is interesting to me. That's the first one that clashes to me in the red area, but it gets better. There we have a dissonance, which I think is really cool. And those are the ones that are in the red zone, so to speak. To me, I think that this funny little F sharp in the bass in the end of the guitar pattern, I think that's the key to making this whole thing work. That's the feeling I get. When that F sharp comes, you're like, whoa, all bets are off. And then we can mix and match, and it gets magical. And we can debate whether the guys in Rush, if they thought about all this, or if they just did it by feel. I have no idea. I just know that I love this growing up, and I still love this part. So there you have it. Xanadu by Rush, the minor-major clash. I hope you enjoyed that. And please don't forget to like and subscribe if you like my content.